I appall myself sometimes. I mean, what language do they speak in North Korea? I should know. And when the news comes on the radio that war has ceased between the two Koreas, what sort of person smiles, not so much at that idea, but because through crackle and long distance hiss, the interpreter says, and I'm sure of this, our nations will from now on live in peace. What he said. Annyeong, Brenda ya, Pangawo. Peace, I'm Brenda, pleased to meet you. Okay, so that was a brand new poem that I wrote last night, probably the only time it will ever be heard in public. Theo said to do a lighter poem, so I'm hoping I can raise the odd smile for you. One or two slightly more serious in between. This one's an older poem. It's called Fall from Grace. A while ago I fell from grace, which is the name I give my ladder now. I thought I could rely on her, together we'd rise higher and higher, but I was wrong. The capricious cow turned into a two-faced liar, and, like those lovers who desert you but swear they never meant to hurt you, slipped accidentally on mossy paving stones, pulled the rung out from under my feet and dumped me, none too gently, and as we parted, left me not broken-hearted, but with a shattered heel bone. The smooth promontory of my calcaneum, proper medical term, be impressed, had become an archipelago, or so the X-ray seemed to show, with clear black channels between each chalky isle. This'll take a while to mend, they said, as I lay on the hospital bed. 6 weeks in plaster, 6 in a contraption, and then you'll have to learn to walk again. Which was a bit of a disaster, and took away the poet's rapture I felt when I learned that this is called a lover's fracture, traditionally sustained by people leaping from high windows to avoid capture by their paramours' husbands or wives. They'd rather risk their lives than be caught in the act. And I'd like to claim that this was my story, but it is a disappointing fact that I missed out on the good bits and the glory. I just fell. I had torn ligaments as well, and I suffered mild concussion too, confused I'd do things I'd already done. And I suffered mild concussion too, confused I'd do things I'd already done. But the worst bump in this tumbling percussion thumped my bum, which, after my poor foot struck stone, landed on the ladder, which was by now prone. Or possibly supine, it's hard to tell with ladders. So that between aluminium and pelvic bone was crushed muscle, which is not, as you might think, a Swedish heavy metal band, or a belittled bivalve, or something dished up by Heston Blumenthal. This blooming fall left me unable to sit, or lie, or stand, without a very literal pain in the arse. It's been a year now, and may never pass. True, it's given me the vague idea of what it must be like to wake each morning with the fear of aches that stretch the horizon, punctuated by telegraph poles of immobility. Though I had just a few short weeks of trivial disability, I won't forget what I have learned. But my mind was full of my own concerns when a friend said, "Hasn't it made you grateful you're usually so fit?" No, not a bit. Never mind the inconvenience and pain, I am not the same. I've always hated it when people say, "Take care." I started a campaign to say instead, "Take risks." I've never turned a hair at danger. Got my kicks jumping out of aeroplanes. I was someone who dared. But now, I think I'm scared. Perhaps that fearless woman I once was just isn't there anymore. It's hard to pick up courage when you're being dumped in the dirt, but I want to be what I was before. And though I'll never touch grace again, the treacherous little flirt, I know I must find another ladder and climb like I'll never be hurt. Thank you. It seems appropriate to do this poem next because it's called Damaged Goods, even though it's a completely different subject. Sometimes a new love arrives like something ordered through the mail, taut, shiny, perfectly packed, ready to be attacked with passion, wrapping ripped away as you burrow for the prize within, ignoring polystyrene worms, the germs of what might follow. You wallow in the newness, delight in the strange two-ness of it all. But we are two parcels with addresses lost, tape torn, edges worn and tattered, waiting as if hope mattered. Pre-owned, second-hand, slightly used, previously enjoyed, with all the unsureness of threeness or fourness behind us. Expectations wavered, no longer eager but wary, shivering with anxiety, not ardour, not knowing if we should reject delivery of each other or try just that bit harder to accept these damaged goods. But it's not only that we both have baggage, histories and mysteries and pasts. It's not just our souls that are damaged. Human bodies were not built to last, and my face has been cross-hatched by some mad cartoonist. My bum's only opened by hot air balloonists. It all makes me squirm, and the one thing that's firm is my long-term belief that some thief, opportunist, has stolen my beautiful youth. Oh yes, I may try some misguided disguise. Blue lycra pants conceal orange peel thighs. Grey hair erased by L'Oreal dyes, because I'm worth it. But nothing can quite hide the truth. And well, as for you, I know you can't chew until you remove that once false front tooth. Hair spurts from your ears instead of your crown. You run out of breath on a stroll into town. You can't see your toes unless you sit down. Time touches each part as it passes, and both of us need to wear glasses. But I can read your heart, and it's not in bad shape. So before arthritis prevents our escape from this cold isolation and bubble-wrapped limbo, love, please, be my squeeze. Let me be your bimbo. So we've been here before. We can try it once more. Let's open the box, and to hell with Pandora. We're perfectly matched. We should act with dispatch. After so long in transit, there's no strings attached and no postage due. I was sent just for you. And time's running out. Without further ado, remove my plain wrapper. It's rescue, not rape. Just take care as you peel off that old sellotape and sign to accept. Don't return me to sender. Be mine on approval, and I'll be yours, Brenda. I always like to include a love poem. This one is set in that most romantic of places, the multi-storey car park, and it's called NCP. Strip lights and concrete. The sign said NCP, the end of our first dates, and this near stranger looked at me, and the strip lights became candles, and the concrete wasn't there but hung with rainbow velvet. The watchman wasn't there, and the ticket machines were humming a new and lovely tune, and he kissed me, and the strip lights turned into a full moon. The winter chill of concrete held the sunshine of the spring, and the echoes of cars leaving was a choir about to sing. The exhaust fumes smelt like perfume, and the strip lights burned inside me, and this stranger was the lover who I hoped would stay beside me all my life. We agreed to make next day, and he turned and walked away, and the strip lights were just glaring and the concrete cold and bare. But I knew this was the real thing, and my feelings quite proportionate when I found I didn't care that this was NCP, and the charges were extortionate. It cost me a small fortune parking for our date, but £10.50 for new love, that's not a bad rate. He's sitting over there. So a few months later we went on holiday, and I wrote this poem, which I like to think has a profound comment on something that men will never fully understand about women. It's called Handbagged. The flight was cold. We were on our way to our Greek island holiday, gate 23. He smiled at me, and suddenly I realised, not with what you call surprise, more shock and awe, as if a favourite pet had died or England had failed to score. My handbag was in my hand, no more. My bag, it's gone, I cried out loud, without a thought for all the crowd who were listening as they passed. Is that important, he asked. Important, I replied. It's got my passport, my iPhone, ibuprofen, eye drops, comb, tickets out and home, money, cards, credit and debit. Oh, where the hell could I have left it? My notebook, my diary, my driving licence and my favourite pen. Oh, he said, what's important then? What? I screamed like a bonfire night rocket. Don't you understand? Not really, he said. I have pockets. Was there anything else in it? Oh, a lottery ticket. Suppose that I win it. That would be just my kind of luck. Toothpick, chewing gum, sweets to suck during takeoff, which, by the way, is in 25 minutes. A mirror and pills, tissues and bills. Car keys, a torch, khaki shorts, spare pants. All clearly labelled with my name, stuff for killing bugs and ants. A game. The poem that will one day be my only claim to fame, my lucky charm, and the big book of calm which I could really do with now. And acting as if he didn't care, he said, I wondered what you kept in there. I carry my life in that bag, my Swiss Army knife and a Leatherman tool, a collapsible stool, an oxyacetylene torch so that if we crash land I can cut a way out, a bucket of sand in case there's a fire, all my worries and doubts in a small coil of wire, a vodka and tonic with lemon and ice, a packet of rice. We might go to a wedding Buttons and safety pins, needles and thread, and before you ask, no, not a spare bed. Just clean bedding, a light quilt, and a lifetime of guilt, all my hopes and regrets, successes, lost bets, moments of elation, various means of sedation, all my consonants and vowels, not to mention a towel. I've read the Hitchhiker's Guide. No panic, he replied. All that inside one small bag. Where does it go? And no kitchen sink? Don't be stupid, I replied. I do have a plug though, but think, please think. What on earth can we do? What's the matter with you? You'll be hoping if you don't mind. And then he laughed at me. I think you will find, he said with a smile, that you've left behind the everyday bag you use when you work, and actually everything's safely on track. All you need is in that big black rucksack, which I notice is still on your back. Calm down, dear. Let's go catch our flight. Don't you just hate it when men are right? My daughter says I should tell the truth behind that poem, which is that I did actually leave my handbag on the floor in Manchester Airport and discovered it was missing 25 minutes before the plane was due to start. But obviously I'd be far too embarrassed to share that with a room full of strangers. Anyway, we did find the bag, got to the holiday, and I love holidays. I tend to write a lot of poems when I'm on holiday. This one was written on a beach on a Greek island, and it's called How to Make an Angel Smile. If there were angels, then this is where they would live, or somewhere like this. Not frozen in a gloomy church stuffed full of sin. Not weeping in a graveyard waiting for the end to begin. Not standing at the metal rail of some poor patient's bed, grinning a welcome as the charts go down and down. No. Here, you see them sometimes. In a wisp of spray, a stretching dog, an aimless turtle. Hear them in cicadas and goat bells and the wind. They glint on quartz and sparkle on sand and relax each time a woman, middle-aged and lumpy, makes the brave decision to be the first one there that day to go topless on the beach. I think that angels like this. Okay. This next one is another holiday poem. It's kind of a continuation of that one. Quite often when you're a poet, people say, if you tell people you're a poet, they say, go on then, give us a poem. And this is the one I always do because it's short. It's called Playa del Inglés. And Playa del Inglés, in case you don't know, is a seaside resort in Gran Canaria. But it's known universally to tourists and travel agents as Playa del Inglés. Playa del Inglés. The old couple on holiday went to the beach and sat down to look at the boats. They had food wrapped in foil and suntan oil and of course their light summer coats. Then something wobbly caught Dad's eye and he exclaimed to Ma, "By heck, what are those? And look at that bun. Hey, who do they think they are?" For they had strayed onto the nudist part of the beach at Playa del Inglés, and all around was the sight and sound of a group of naked singles. Then Ma sat upright, with full view of a sight that made her cheeks burn so hot. "Quick, look at that man with the tiki fet tan. There's a ring through the end of his eye, don't know what." But after a while they started to smile at what they could still remember when passion burned bright as Canarian sun and was not just a glowing ember. As if in a dream they thought back to a stream on a warm August night, 53, and exchanging a glance they accepted this chance, and they stood, and with some dignity they stripped to the skin without saying a thing, and hand in hand skipped to the sea. I'm so glad. I always think, I love it when people say at the end of that poem. Actually, how I came to write that was, there are some things you don't want your parents to tell you. And I remember, I don't know how the subject came up, I was talking about skinny dipping with my mother, and she said, "Well, of course, your father and I did that." And I thought, no, I just don't want to know this, really. Okay, so now we're moving on to much older people. A few years ago, it was true that the world was run by ageing hippies. But of course, now they're all retired, perhaps in care homes. And that gave me the idea for this poem. It's a character poem, so I have to get in the right stance, and for some reason, it always comes out in this accent. It's always the same, and I've only got myself to blame, but it's in my blood. I did green common, and things like that aren't soon forgotten. In my day, we knew how to be naughty, not like these kids today, just drunk on WKD 40 or whatever they call it. Anyway, in my bag I carry a flag, not with revolution's burning flame in red and black, no, the Zimmer frame in cream and latte, with pensioner rampants. I've started this new old age party, stripped off my camouflage and khaki, smart casual now and a zip-up cardi, and it was time for us to demonstrate, no shouting, we just remonstrate. We didn't want vendetta, we were after something better, and our slogan was the killer, V for vanilla. We had postcards, not placards, the others wouldn't risk it, but they said important things like, no VAT on biscuits, down with things that we don't like, support the Daily Mail, I banned that one, more Emmerdale at weekends, bring back Watney's Ale. But as I said to the arresting officer, we didn't mean to start a rumble with that drive-by in our hood. We wound the windows down to grumble, and you know we grumble good, and we weren't fueled by Jack, just fair trade value Sauvignon. And when that chap said, what's your beef, man? And I answered, bulky. I didn't intend any disrespect, but it all kicked off with that. And a walking stick's quite handy when they're knocked off your best hat. And I know I should have wisdom, I should be granny who knows best. But I couldn't resist yelling, fucking pigs! And I had to resist arrest. We set out to protest mildly, and what annoys us all, like low-slung jeans that show boys' pants, print that's far too small, long waiting lists for hip-hop, cyclists without lights, those groups of large young people who frighten us at night, though we wouldn't dare speak up loudly because the hooligans might hear. And they know we're growing older, and they know we feel the fear of loss, not just our gloves and specs, but youth, power, love, respect, wealth, influence, health, mobility, safety, security, dignity, stability, autonomy, authority, worth, personality, confidence, independence, driving licenses, senses, sense, our homes, our rights, our friends, in fact, everything that makes life worth living. And finally, life itself. But no one loves you when you moan, no one wants to hear us rage, and Hughes doesn't go with older skins, we should hide ourselves in beige, but I didn't, and I'm here, in the cells again, and it's always, always the same, and if that Louis the Corner stinks, I've only myself to blame. Prison food's worse than on a peace march, I was on the bog all night, and it's here in this cell where I eat and sleep, some things just aren't right. But my cellmates lent me a book to read. I'll start on it today. It's clearly meant for us because it's called 50 Shades of Grey. And I hope it'll give me new ideas on how we can get our way, because at last I've learned from history. This is the moment when I swear I'll never, ever, ever demonstrate again. Thank you very much. You've been very kind. I'm going to do a more serious one now. This is called Buffalo Bridge. It was just another video on YouTube, not talking dogs or crazy kittens, and I'm not one prize bucket challenges or anything like that. No, this was a big guy, black as a magician's face, fat as wide as he was tall. You'd see him on the screen and think American, obese, too many burgers, too much beer to drink, not enough self-discipline. And here he was driving his bus across a bridge in Buffalo, NY. He said later, I'm a football guy, and when the coach calls out your number, you gotta make your play. And on that sunny autumn day when he spotted a young woman on the wrong side of the guardrail, mesmerised by packs of traffic on the freeway far below, he stopped his bus, and with a gracious kiss of, who knows what you call it, charity perhaps, he cried out, "Miss, are you okay? Miss, miss." She stood and leaned against the outer rail, the last resort of suicides. But his number had been called, and he wasn't going to fail. He would not let this loose ball fly, but tried again. "Are you okay, ma'am? Please?" Still no reply, no release. But he did not give up. He refused to shirk his part. He listened to his heart and left his bus, his passengers, his work, put one great arm around the girl and lifted her as easily as if she were a bus pass to the safe side of the barrier, set her gently on the ground, a wounded bird. And as if he found the purpose of his endless routine driving, he talked her into living. This is love. It's not the sickly teenage passion for a boy from One Direction, or that wildest rage of burning honey each of us remembers from our youth, but with no hunger for prestige or power or money. This is love, in its quietness and its truth. Love had called his number, and the small play he made for this lost cause brought him from his passengers' applause, and now his 15 minutes on the YouTube field of fame. But that's not why he did it. This wasn't a baseball game. No, inside every bus driver, each passenger, each father, mother, child and friend, and even every banker, politician, clown and poet. Love will one day find its meaning and its end, with no need for admiration, praise or fuss. And when I hear my number called, I think again of him, that driver of a New York bus. Thank you. And I'm going to finish with a very short poem. As I'm sure everybody here knows, this week on the 23rd of April, it was the anniversary of Shakespeare's birthday. And I thought, this is the perfect place. Here we are in Shakespeare's home county. Are we? Which county? Yeah, I thought we were. Yeah, just had moments of doubt then. And this is a sonnet, and it's called Sod Off Shakespeare. I speak of Shakespeare, say his wisdom lasts. 4 centuries have not diminished him, but things have changed. This isn't like the past, and some of his observations fade and dim. Take 7 ages, every one a man. Schoolboy, soldier, lover, and so on. Well, we have women now, and now we can be every age at once till life is gone. I'm pantaloon, apparently, and yes, my shank is shrunk, but through exercise and diet, I learn still, fight my battles. You can guess about my love life, but it's far from quiet. Sans everything comes next, but I will choose how my play ends, with no fear and no eternal fate to lose. Thank you very much. Thank you for your time.